Hello everyone. I welcome you to Prelims Cracking Code. I have classified 14 main rules which you will see in any lecture or any course in the name of PYQ logic series. Disclaimer is that knowledge always come on the top, but nobody have cleared prelims ever without using logic and common sense. These methods will never give you 100% accuracy, but they will always give you around 50% accuracy that will help you clear the prelims examination. The rule 1 is based on the data analysis of past 5-year questions. If there is a 3-statement based question, the probability of 2 being correct is 50% of the time based on the last 5-year questions. If there are 4 statements, the probability of 2 being correct also has a probability of 50%. And if there are 4 statements, 3 statements being correct has the probability of 30%. And if there are 5 statements, 3 being correct, the probability is 90% of the time because UPSC had asked less number of questions with 5 statements. This is just based on data analysis, and the logic is very clear. If they are giving you 3 statements, they will try to give at least 1 statement wrong. And thus, if you are attempting 4 questions, say for example, and if you choose 2 correct in 2 questions, 1 will become correct. There is high probability. But this method is not leak proof. The next method is perhaps very strong. That is odd one out rule. It is based on the examiner psyche. If you have to make a question paper, you are giving 4 options, right? If you are choosing one option that is outrightly lesser known, that option is something which is not mainstream. You have collected it because it is the answer or it is correct. I can give you several examples of it. This is a question. The Vital Vidvansak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Option A, Gopal Baba Varangakar. In how many modern history textbooks you have read this name and how mainstream this name is, with all due respect, compared to other 3 names, Jyotiba Phule, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And this was the answer based on this logic. We have so many other options. Last year, the first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar in Delhi, Gwalior, Ujjain, and Lahore. What is the odd one out? Lahore, out of these 4 options. And this was the correct answer. You had another logic. Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. Okay. Some people applied logic by seeing Gandharva. They thought it is Kandahar. But Kandahar again is in Afghanistan. That is a failed logic. But if you apply odd one out logic, it will fetch you a very good dividend. Let's see more options. Consider the following airports. The first statement was Donley Polo Airport. How many of you heard the name of Donley Polo Airport? If I have to manufacture a wrong statement, why I will give Donley? I will give Hyderabad. I will give Bangalore. And you will commit more mistakes there. Then Kushinagar International Airport and Vijayawada is still known. But this is something which is very, very lesser known. And the probability of being this incorrect is very low. Then let's see in another question as well. Which of the following statements about exercise Mitra Shakti are correct? This was a joint military exercise between India and Bangladesh. It commenced in Aund Pune. If I have to make a wrong statement, why I will give a particular Aund Pune name, which is so lesser known. I will give something which can trap you more, Visakhapatnam, right? So this will not be correct. This is called as odd one out. Okay. Now let's read the rule number 3. That is, if I am making a statement, artificially I will write but not, but, and I will narrow down the second part of the statement. I will artificially do it. And you have to be very vigilant. The first part will be right, conceptually many a times correct. But just they have to make wrong statement. So artificially, they will write but not, only but, and just change the course of the entire statement by narrowing it down. How so? Let's see a question. Consider the following statement about Lokpal. Now see the statement first. The power of Lokpal applies to public servant of India, but not to the Indian public servant posted outside India. Artificially narrowing down the power and the statement. And this can never be correct. This can never be correct. Let's see another option. Another question. GPS added Geo-augmented navigation. Gagan uses a system of ground stations to provide necessary augmentation. Which of the following statements are correct in respect of Gagan? Statement 1, it is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity. That's fine. It will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. The third statement is it will provide benefits only in aviation, but not in other modes of transportation. Artificially trying to narrow down the statement, and this will be incorrect. With this only you can arrive at the correct answer. Sometimes you will not arrive at the correct answer with only this logic. Several other logics you will have to apply to arrive at the correct answer, but it will always help you to arrive at the correct answer and gain more positive marks. Now, rule 4 is keyword and root word rule. Even if you do not know the specific technology or term, use the meaning of root word in the question to deduce the correct answer. How so? Cram these. Photo means light, related to light or optics. If they have written bio, it would be related to life, related to living organism. If it is hydro, then it will be related to water. Nano, extremely small, related to nanotechnology. If it is written geo, it will be related to earth or geography. Thermo, it will be related to heat or temperature. And aero, it will be related to air or aviation. These are some general keywords that you should cram and understand. If this is written, it will be related to all these things. Now let's see a question. Recently, the term pumped storage hydropower is actually and appropriately discussed in the context of which one of the following? Storage. Pumped storage hydropower. This is clearly a power is being generated and it is stored. So we have to choose only that option where the power is being generated and it is being stored. Irrigation of terraced crop fields. This is nowhere we are storing the power. Lift irrigation of cereal crops. Again, here we are not storing the power. Long duration energy storage. Yes, we are storing the power. Rainwater harvesting system. We are not storing the power. So only option which satisfies the keyword meaning is the option C, which was the correct answer. Now let's see question number 16. R2 code of practices. R2 is clearly an abbreviation. R2 is clearly an abbreviation. And it can be R means it can be related to something. Code of practices means it has to be related to do's and don'ts. RR say we have words like reduce, reuse, recycle, etc. etc. Now let's see the option. Option A, environmentally responsible practices in electronic recycling industry. This seems very close. Let's read other options. Ecological management of wetlands of international importance under the Ramsar Convention. No. We know it about Ramsar management and what are the things which are there. We already know. You all have that much of knowledge. Option C, sustainable practices in the cultivation of agriculture crops, integrated lands. Again, not connecting to the abbreviation. Environmental impact assessment in the exploitation of natural resources. Something which is getting connected to the abbreviation is only the option A. Now let's see, what is blue carbon? Blue is our ocean, is our water. Carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. The option A is related to the word blue. Okay, so this has to be the correct answer. So you have to always see the keywords. Even if you don't know the answer, try to correlate and arrive at the correct answer. Now let's see the rule 5, the swapping rule. Here they can swap two concepts, two names. There will be two statements and they will deliberately swap it. They are deliberately doing it. See the question number 70. Adenovirus have single-stranded DNA genome, whereas retroviruses have double-stranded DNA genomes. Common cold is sometimes caused by adenovirus, whereas AIDS is caused by retrovirus. Now, the statement 1, they have just, what they have done is, they have just swapped. It is not adenovirus, it is perhaps a retrovirus, which is single-stranded. So they deliberately swapped it and this was incorrect. This is happening many occasions. I am trying to teach you the methods and not give you too many examples, but this method can be at least applied in the last 5 years in 13 to 14 questions. Next question you can see. Another example, ballistic missiles are jet propelled at subsonic speed throughout their flights, while cruise missiles are rocket powered only in the initial phase of flight. They have just interchanged it. Agni 5 is a medium range supersonic cruise missile, while BrahMos is a solid fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. Again, they have interchanged the concepts and interchanged the properties of the missile. Agni 5 is not a cruise missile, and BrahMos is a cruise missile. Ballistic missiles works on projectile motion. I have discussed all of these in the last lab series. If you want knowledge and you are lacking knowledge, just see the last lab series, any subject in which you are feeling uncomfortable. It will give you very high confidence. Not only this, let's see swapping the names. Bharatiya Janasangh Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee is absolutely correct, and majority of us knew this answer. Now, the statement 2 is Socialist Party C. Rajagopalachari. Here came the trap. Congress for Democracy, Jajinan Ram is fine. Swatantra Party, Acharya Narendra Devji. Now they have just swapped it. C. Rajagopalachari was related to Swatantra Party, and Socialist Party, Acharya Narendra Dev was, who was one of the founding members. So again, they had played the same game. Not only this, in this question also. Saphites, giant clouds of dust and gas in space. No, it is a star which brighten and dim periodically. Nebulae, it is a giant clouds of dust and gas in space. Okay. So again, they had used the same thing to manipulate us. Now let's see the next rule, that is rule 6. Generic statement rule. So words that signal a likely true statement, humble statement, some, can, may, often, generally, in certain cases, under specific condition. They are not giving sweeping generalization. Here, the statement will be likely to be true. When the statement is likely to be false, when they are trying to give sweeping generalization, always, never, only, exclusively, mandatory, no exception, all, none. So here, the statement is likely to be false. Absolute words make a statement fragile. Only one exception is needed to make it incorrect. So logically also you think the probability, it is a rational, it is not a tukka, it is not a punting, it is a rational. So just one exception is needed to make these incorrect. That is why the probability of being these incorrect will be very, very high. And we all have used these methods and techniques to qualify prelims. Let's see the humble ones. Consider the following statement. Some mushrooms have medicinal properties. Some mushrooms have psychoactive properties. Some mushrooms have insecticidal properties. And some mushrooms have bioluminescent properties. How many of the above statements are correct? Some can have. Some is a very humble and open-ended statement. And the probability when some is being used to be correct will be very high. Same logic you could have applied in this question. Consider the following statements. Some microorganisms can grow in environment with temperature above the boiling point of water. There will be some microorganism that can grow. Some microorganism can grow in environment with temperature below the freezing point of water. Absolutely, there is a possibility. Some microorganism can grow in highly acidic environment with a pH below 3. Again, there is a high probability that this can be correct. So when they are using such humble statements, the chance of being correct will be very high. Now, let's see this option. With the reference to green hydrogen, consider the following statements. Statement 1, it can be used directly as a fuel for internal combustion. Statement 2, it can be blended with the natural gas and used as a fuel for heat or power generation. So humbly, yes, it can be correct. It can be used in the hydrogen fuel cell to run vehicles. Can is a statement which is showcasing probability. And in any question, specifically technology related question, this word will be used. There is very huge probability that the statement will be correct. Another question. India accounts for a very large portion of all equity option contracts traded globally, thus exhibiting a great boom. Statement 2, India's stock market has grown rapidly in the recent past, even overtaking Hong Kong at some point of time. Humble statements, such use of words makes the chance or the probability of any statement being correct very, very high. Okay. And when they are closing down, there is no regulatory body either to warn the small investors about the risk of options trading or to act on unregistered financial advisory in this regard. There is no regulatory body. Such negative statements which are closing down, there is a huge probability that such statement will be incorrect. Now, words that signal likely false statement, we will see more examples of it. All types of UAV can use battery only as a source of power supply. Here, all types of UAV can do vertical landing, fine. All types of UAVs can do automatic hovering, fine. They are aerial vehicles, they can do it. All types of UAV can use battery only as a source of power supply. They are just artificially trying to narrow down and give us generalization and trying to narrow down a technology. Technology will always have probabilities of using different kinds of power supply. So this is not punting, this is pure logic. I will not include the punting. I've just included rule one that is based on data analysis. All the other rules are very, very important for your examination. In another question, they had written, India is a resource-rich country in all the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. If this was the case, we would not be dependent on countries like China. Again, they are trying to give you some statement where the probability of being incorrect is very, very high. The thorium is found in all the coastal part of India. Again, it will be incorrect. If in even a small portion, India has a long coastline, if there is no thorium, then it will stand incorrect. And they have asked this statement. I can go on and on, but you just remember this rule that if they are trying to sweepingly generalize such kind of a thing, specifically with respect to the resources, minerals, there is a very less probability in all areas or all minerals we will have. We are dependent on other countries. Specifically for mineral and resources, you have to remember this. This will be 100% of the time incorrect, such a statement. 100%. I'm not even saying 99.99. Rule 7, fact manipulation rule. Fact can be written in two ways. Words that indicate approximate or likely data, not giving you accurate data. The probability of being that correct is very high. Any statement which is giving accurate data, the probability of being incorrect is very high. So if approximate, the probability of being correct is high. If they are giving you a fixed data, probability of being incorrect is very, very high. So what is the approximate words that they can use? More than, less than, about, around, at least, very little, nearly, approximately, and up to. These are the approximate data statements. Let's see the example when they are giving accurate. Consider the following statements in respect of the first Coco World Cup. The event was held in Delhi, India. Then they started giving you scores. Indian man beat Nepal with a score of 70-40. Accurate. Chances of being incorrect, very high. Indian women beat Nepal with a score of 54-36. Again, accurate. Chances of being incorrect is very, very high. Next example. Consider the following statements regarding Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiyan. Provision will come into effect from the 18th Lok Sabha. Now, chances of being it, again, accurate data. Chances of being incorrect is very, very high. Okay. Another example, India accounts for 3.2% of global exports of goods. Again, they are trying to give you accurate data. The manipulation is very, very easy. 3.1 is also wrong. 3.3 is also wrong. If the answer is 3.5%, okay, even 0.1 fluctuation can make it incorrect. Unless you know it, you should not make it correct. Approximate data. Consider the following statements about turmeric during the year 2022-23. India is the largest producer and exporter of turmeric in the world. More than 30 varieties. These words, more than 30 varieties of turmeric are grown in India. Now, they are not telling you 35 turmeric, 36 turmeric, 38 turmeric, 40 turmeric. They are telling you more than 30 varieties. Now, such statements of the chances of being correct rationally will be always very, very high. Next example, which of the following statements are correct about the deposit of methane hydrate? Statement 1, global warming might trigger the release of methane gas from these deposits. Might trigger. Very humble. Large deposits of methane hydrate are found in Arctic tundra and under the seafloor. But they are not pointing out to any data. Methane in atmosphere oxidized to carbon dioxide after a decade or two. Again, they are giving approximation. When such statements are given, approximation of data, the chances of being correct will be very, very high. Okay. Let's see the rule number 8, schemes trap rule. If they are giving you schemes, just see these 5 things very carefully. If you are seeing these 5 things, your scheme related questions will never be wrong. Trap 1, wrong category scheme. They might manipulate this. Central sector can be made centrally sponsored, or centrally sponsored can be made central sector. A thumb rule is most critical things central government will try to take under the control, or where the investment is not used, then the probability of being central sector is very, very high. Trap 2, wrong ministry, very easy to manipulate. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. They can write Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, or Ministry of Education, Ministry of Women and Child Development. This is very easy. Third thing that you have to check in a scheme related question is funding pattern. 100% central funding shown as 60-40, 90-10, anything can be there. Type 4, manipulation, that is excluding vulnerable section, generally wrong. They had given you a statement in which they had included self-help group women's. That cannot be a scheme. Schemes will be always trying to include vulnerable sections. And the type 5 of manipulation in scheme is too specific, generally wrong. If a scheme is becoming too specific, that statement, the probability of that statement being incorrect is very high. And broader statements generally will be right. So these 5 things you have to notice in a scheme. Let's see the example with reference to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Consider the following statements asked in Prelims 2018. It is the flagship scheme of Ministry of Labor and Employment. This was the trap. If you had eliminated this, you could have arrived at the correct answer. Let's see more option. Consider the following statements. The Indian Sanitation Council is a platform to promote sustainable sanitation and is funded by the Government of India and the World Health Organization. Statement 2. The National Institute of Urban Affairs is an apex body of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in Government of India and provides innovative solution to address the challenge of urban India. Here again, they had manipulated the same thing. This body, and is it the apex body of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs or not? This is very easy to manipulate. So in any scheme, this is a very common trap used by UPSC so frequently. You have to become alert. Unless you are 100% sure, you have to make it incorrect. Now, rule number 9 for international organization. These are the 3 traps that they will use in IR related question. Trap 1, wrong organization. A function of WHO will be attributed to UNICEF. UNICEF to UNESCO. You must have remembered the question related to the Mother Tongue Day. And what they had done, they had written UNICEF instead of UNESCO. And that was the trap. Trap 2, legally binding. Many declaration and frameworks are not legally binding. UPSC states that. And that is the trap. Trap 3, India as a signatory has not ratified several important conventions. So we have to be very vigilant when they have written India as a signatory. Like Rome Statute of ICC, India is not a member. Certain provisions under UN UNCLOS also. So you have to be vigilant. 3 things, organization name and the work they are doing. This can be easily manipulated. Second, the word legally binding can be easily manipulated. And third, India as a signatory. These 3 things you have to notice in any international organization related question. Let's see some examples. At the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP28, India refrained from signing the Declaration on Climate and Health. Statement 2, the COP28 Declaration on Climate and Health is a binding declaration, and if signed, it becomes mandatory to decarbonize the health sector. This is not a binding. The binding trap was used here. Okay. The statement 3 also, I'm showcasing you a trap. If India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. Okay. Now you will think that, okay, decarbonizing may be something which is extremely positive, but see that the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. This is trying to highlight the negative aspect, and this can be related to the statement 1. Okay, I'm just giving you some another rule. But just remember the binding declaration, you have to be very, very alert. Then consider the following statements. Recently, all the countries of the United Nations have adopted the first ever Compact for International Migration, the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration. The objectives and commitments stated in the GSCM are binding on the UN members country. Again, the same trap they had used. Okay, and now also, if any question is of environment also, of recent conventions, etc., all countries coming together is something very, very difficult, and something as cliche as migration will never be correct. So all countries, and they are trying to give you such kind of statements, there is a huge probability that this will be incorrect. Always remember. Now let's see the rule number 10, defined in constitution trap. There are two things that you need to remember. Defined and mentioned is a different. There is huge probability that something can be mentioned, but defined is something that constitution has to define it very clearly. Majority of the time, defined word in constitution, if it is written in any statement, will be incorrect. But if it is written defined in a law or an act or in a statute, then the probability of being it correct is almost 90%. Why so? Because acts are elaborate and they give definition. So there is very high probability that in a particular act it must be defined. In constitution, the definition, etc., is very hard to find. Let's see some example. The Constitution of India classifies the ministry into 4 ranks. Again, this was a trap. Constitution is not doing all of this in detail. This was the trap. Let's see more example. The Constitution of India defines civil contempt and criminal contempt. Again, this was a trap. Okay. So this was also incorrect. Question number 13. The Constitution of India defines its basic structure in terms of federalism, secularism, fundamental rights, and democracy. It has never defined it. The Constitution of India provides for judicial review to safeguard the citizens' liberty and to preserve the ideals on which the Constitution is based. It has not directly provided. Yes, the provisions inspires the judicial review based on the pronouncement of Honorable Supreme Court, but it is the name judicial review specifically and the power is not being mentioned in any specific article. But if defined in act, will be generally correct. But mentioned is different than defined. There is a question. There is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution of India. Mentioning there can be probability that it is mentioned. Okay. So if word mention is there is more probability of being it correct rather than defined. So this is the trap that you need to remember. Now let's see the next rule. Rule number 11. Governance authority swapping rule. There will be multiple bodies, there will be multiple authorities, and they will just swap the power of one authority with another authority. This is the most common swap to watch for. Like president say they will do it governor. They will write governor instead of president. Very easy. Governor would have that power. They will write chief minister. Very easy. Parliament, they will write state legislature. Union list, they will write concurrent list. Concurrent list, they will write state list. Honorable Supreme Court, they will write High Court. Finance Commission, they will write Niti Aayog. So, swapping bodies and swapping authority is a very common way to manipulate. And this is something to watch out. You have to be very, very vigilant while you are reading these kinds of questions. Let's read the example. Panchayats at the intermediate level exist in all states. To be eligible to be a member of the panchayat at the intermediate level, a person should attain the age of 30 years. The chief minister of a state constitutes a commission to review the financial position of panchayats at the intermediate levels and to make recommendations regarding the distribution of net proceeds of taxes and duties leviable by the state between the state and panchayats at the intermediate level. Now, the chief, always when any authority and its function is given, be very, very vigilant. Very vigilant. It is very easy thing to be manipulated. Here, chief minister, they have written deliberately instead of governor. This was incorrect. There are many more such examples. See the next question. Consider the following statement. It is the governor of the state who recognizes and declares any community of that state as a scheduled tribe. Now here, this is the power of president. They have written governor deliberately. Okay. So this was incorrect. Watch out. Whenever they are writing any authority in their function, they can swap it. Now, the rule number 12. No power for constitutional bodies trap. Powerful bodies, they will try to show that they do not have certain power. And you have to watch out. You have to read it very, very carefully. You have to be certain to make it correct. If you have any kind of little bit of doubt, try to choose it as incorrect. See the options. With reference to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, consider the following statements. While any resolution for the removal of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is under consideration, Statement 1, she shall not preside. Seems logical if he or she may not be acting as a president since the resolution is going on. But statement 2, she shall not have the right to speak. That's too much. Taking a power from a very powerful body. Statement 3, she shall not be entitled to vote on the resolution in the first instance. Okay. Now they are trying to take power from a very powerful body, narrowing down it, not even allowed to speak is something which has to be incorrect. And if you would have eliminated just this, you could have arrived at the correct answer. Let's see another example. Statement 1. In India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concession in respect of extraction of minor minerals, even though such minerals are located in their territories, artificially trying to narrow down the power of a powerful body. And this is a very, very common trap that you have to watch out. You have to be very, very vigilant. Let's see the next rule. Rule number 13. Wider application of technology rule. Generally, what happens? If any technology related questions are there, you will feel that I haven't read it, so it might not be correct. But generally, the technology applications will not be written in any of the book. All the applications, there is a very wide possibility. So generally, you have to choose as wide as possible. But there are certain cliches that application should not be too much over the top. Unless it is not too much over the top, the chances of being correct is very, very high. And that is why you will find all the above. Option D, majority of the time correct, unless there is some over the top option. But it will always fetch you positive dividend. Let's see when it fails. There is a question. Consider the following statements. DNA barcoding can be a tool to assess the age of plant or animal. Is this that easy? Do we have any technology? Any technology that we are using it for a very long time? That technology name is DNA. That is related to carbon dating, right? Carbon dating is a technology. Is it that easy? Through DNA barcoding, you can assess the age of plant or animal. Statement 2 is distinguish among species that look alike. It can be done. Identify undesirable animal or plant materials in processed food. Again, this can be done. But age is something which is over the top, trying to give some kind of application which is too much wider. We had another such fallout of option D. With the present state of development of artificial intelligence, can effectively do which of the following? Bring down electricity consumption in industrial unit. Very easy and can be done. Statement 2. Create meaningful short stories and songs. Okay. Statement 3. Disease diagnosis has been done by so many of the artificial intelligence technologies. Text-to-speech conversion, very basic thing, can be easily done. Wireless transmission of electrical energy. This is something, wireless transmission of electrical energy. Wireless. No electron needs to move from one place to another to transmit the electricity. This is completely over the top. Such over the top applications, if they are written, so you have to check if something is over the top or not. If something is not over the top, too much over the top, and neglecting the basic science, basic knowledge, they will be mostly correct. So in such question, just have to see if something is over the top or not. If nothing is over the top, everything will be correct. Now the rule number 14, the last one, the cause and effect trap. If a positive thing is written, if it is something, a new technology or organic farming, or specifically related to agriculture, drip irrigation, it is a positive thing. So it will have positive effect, positive technology, progressive technology. It will be correct. If a negative or harmful cause is there, it will have negative result. Okay. So a good cause will have good result. Negative cause or a bad cause will have bad result. This is called as cause and effect trap. But what they will do is they will mix up. Question number 81. Which of the following are the possible consequences of heavy sand mining in river beds? Heavy sand mining is a negative thing, right? Decrease salinity in the river. Decreasing salinity, is it a negative thing? No. Pollution of groundwater is a negative thing. Lowering of the water table is a negative thing. Decreasing salinity is not a negative thing. So this will not be correct. So if a negative thing is written, it will have negative effect. More things to watch out in economy is your now consistent increase in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years. You have to watch out. Our economy is hovering here and there since COVID-19 pandemic and world economy as well. So consistent increase, consistent decrease, 5 years, 10 years, you have to watch out. There is huge probability that they can be incorrect. Let's revise all the rules again so that it is inside your mind. The rule number 1, statement count pattern. So this is based on the purely probability. Odd one out rule. If something odd is given among the statements, the odd name or odd statement, the probability of being it incorrect is very, very less. Generally, it will be correct. Let's see the next rule. Rule 3. A whole statement is given. Suddenly, they have given a jerk and they are writing but not only but to artificially narrow down. This will be incorrect. This is a trap. Next rule. Keyword and root word rule. Even if you don't know the specific technology or terms, use the meaning of root words. And we have given example. Photo means light, bio means life, hydro means water, nano means extremely small, geo means earth, thermo means heat, and aero means air. And we had saw the example as well. Okay. There are numerous examples of it. Then the swapping rule. They will try to swap the two concepts or two names, and it's a deliberate attempt to confuse you. Specifically in science, so they do it too frequently. Okay. They will try to swap the names. That's also a very easy thing. Then the next rule, generic statement rule. If something generic is used, some, can, may, often, generally, in certain case, under specific condition, the probability of being it as correct is very, very high. But words that signal a likely false statement. Always, never, only, exclusively, mandatory, no exception, all, none. We need just one exception to make it incorrect. Okay. Then we have, with the reference to green hydrogen, consider the following statements. Again, we saw, if they are using can be, the chances of being it correct is very high. Okay. At some point of a time, again, but words that are trying to give sweeping generalization, need just one exception to fall down, there is a huge chance that they will be incorrect. And we have seen about minerals, specifically, they are doing it. Thorium is found in naturally in all the coast. Will be incorrect. India has resources contain all the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. India is self-reliant in all the this and that mineral. This will be 99% time incorrect. And fact manipulation rule. So if they are giving exact fact, the chances of being it as incorrect is very, very high. But if they are using more than, less than, about, around, at least, very little, nearly, approximately, up to, in 2 decade or 3 decade at least, like this, if they are giving approximation, the chance of being it as correct is very, very high. Okay. The next rule is scheme trap rules. In schemes, you have to just watch out 5 things. Wrong category, central sector or centrally sponsored, wrong ministry, wrong funding pattern, excluding vulnerable section, it will be wrong. Too specific, it can be wrong. Broad, generally right. Okay. Then international organization, you just have to watch out 3 things. They will use the wrong organization, a function of WHO attributed to UNICEF or WTO to UNCTAD. It's very, very easy. Legally binding. Artificially writing legally binding. India is a signatory, you have to watch out. India is not signatory of many things. Then you have defined in constitution trap. If it is written defined in constitution, generally it is wrong. If it is written defined in act, generally it is right. If it is saying mentioned, then there is a higher probability of being it as correct. Okay. Mentioned is different from defined. Then governance authority swapping rule. So what they do, generally president ko governor they make, governor ko finished up parliament ko state legislature unions list ka par they include in concurrent ka in state list, supreme court ka high court, finance commission ka niti aayog. This is a very easy thing to do. Then the next rule, no power for constitutional body trap. Powerful person, powerful body, and trying to narrow down its power to make it very less. This is a very common thing that they do. You have to watch out. And the next rule, wider application of technology rule. Technology generally have very wide application. So you will find most of the statements are generally correct unless there is something over the top, neglecting the basic science, basic laws of physics, basic laws of chemistry. You just have to watch out if something is not negating the basic science, basic chemistry, basic laws, or basic property of a technology. Unless it is doing so, it will be correct because the application is generally wider. And then cause and effect. If a negative phenomena is there, it will have negative result. Positive phenomena will have positive result. It will not happen that negative phenomena will have positive result and positive phenomena will have negative result. It's a very easy thing to do. Now, these are all 14 rules. Out of these 13 mainly will always help you. These are things which I am telling you to watch out. If you are doing so, it will always help you. Other than this, if anybody is trying to give you tukka methods, stay away with it. Use your common sense, use your knowledge. One thing which is very important is if you have to start your question paper, first see the entire question paper. Okay, see if all the pages are intact, if something is misprint or not. Take a head start. Start from your strong area. Start from the area which you feel are comfortable. A little head start is very important in your paper. If you take a little head start, it will give you confidence to apply these logics and these methods. Secondly, there will be 5 to 10 questions junk. Those junk questions you have to avoid. Those are just there to reduce your confidence. They do not have any kind of other utilization. You have to bank on your knowledge and hard work. You have to give your 100%. Thirdly, if you haven't attempted any question, see the OMR instead of question paper so that you are not doing any kind of blunder in bubbling. And another thing, which is very important, if you are reading any question for more than 2-3 minutes, it will become incorrect. If you have to apply logic, generally the first instance is something which becomes correct. Overthinking leads to incorrect answer. I'm not telling you to be reckless. And the last thing for general study paper is do not go with a very high number. I will attempt 90-95 question. See the question paper. Do not try to artificially increase your attempt in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And most important in general study and CSAT also is to take your time and fill your particulars very carefully. If you are not doing so, and if you have done any error, even a small error if you have done, it will take your confidence very down and this will affect your performance. Be hydrated. Take water bottles. It's very important. Take an analog watch. It is very important that you are seeing the time. You are being hydrated. You have a good glucose limit. Our brain is an energy hungry organ. So you have to use it. And in the last 4 or 5 days, do not indulge into punting. This PDF will lead to 60 questions. Absolutely fake marketing. This video will help you to get 50 marks. Absolutely fake marketing. Stay away from it. They are just trying to use your fear. And you have to bank upon your knowledge. For CSAT, the important thing is that you have to see CSAT in a block of 30 minutes. Make 30 minutes ka 4 blocks. In the first block, try to attempt the paper or the subject in which you are most comfortable, and choose the 10 to 12 questions and do it very fast. In the second block, try to see the easier questions of the next subject in which not you are so strong and attempt more. And then in the next 30 minutes, again try to see the third subject which you have neglected, and there will be very easy question. In the rest of the time, try to solve the remaining questions of your strong subjects and some questions which you can still solve. Try to at least attempt 45 questions. Don't get into that trap of attempt 35 questions to clear the CSAT. 99% of the people who failed in the CSAT in last decade have failed because they have attempted 35, 34, 33 questions. In the last 3-4 days, you have to practice the logics and methods that I have taught in reading comprehension mastery class as well, in the paid initiative, as well as the CSET master video of 1 hour. Practice all the formulas. Don't try to become overconfident. Even if you are from very good college, CSET can still fail you. So you have to be very, very vigilant. And after giving general study paper, stay away with all those people who are discussing the paper, who are discussing the answers. Stay away from it, because the paper is not over yet. In 2023, this was the case. Many people just gave the paper and they became so nervous. And after that, what happened? CSET eliminated majority of the people and the cutoff came to 75 marks. But you have to remember, if you have got very, very less marks in the last year, that was last year, you have given 1 year of your time. So naturally you have more knowledge. But what you are doing is you are reducing your confidence. So reducing confidence may lead to less number of marks. So what is very, very important is bank on your confidence. Knowledge already you have gained. Be vigilant. Read the question properly. Don't try to read it anything very, very fast. Don't become overconfident by seeing something familiar. Familiar things leads to incorrect answers as well. So you have to be not very overconfident and underconfident. Always follow the middle path of Buddha. And if you are following the middle path of Buddha, you all have knowledge to clear the examination. You will come with the flying colors. You just have to remember one thing. Be sthit pragya. That means if the paper is very difficult or if the paper is very easy, if you do not know 3 questions, if you know 5 questions in a row, be sthit pragya. Do not become so happy or sad until the bell will ring, until the paper is over. You have to give your 100% and you have to try your best. If you try your best, nobody can stop you. May the force be with you. And with this, I finish my PYQ logic series as well as last lab series. I wish you all good wishes and best of luck. Thank you very much. Aditya signing off. Take care.